Well, the race for Congress in District 1, which includes 19 counties in the East, is not just one of the most closely watched in the state, but also the entire nation. Democrat Don Davis is seeking re-election to a second term in a redrawn district, while political newcomer Republican Lori Buckout is hoping to become the first Republican to win the district since the 1800s.
Davis is a native of Snow Hill, an Air Force veteran and an ECU graduate. Buckout, originally from Virginia, now living in Edenton, is a retired Army colonel, West Point graduate and business owner. This week we'll discuss the economy, abortion, and national security with them. But we begin with what voters say is the #1 issue in this race: immigration. Democrat Congressman Don Davis has traveled to the southern border 3 times, learning, he says, about the illegal drugs coming into the United States, individuals on the terrorist watch list that have been apprehended, and about the unknown number of people coming into the United States.
Broadly speaking, what I support is comprehensive immigration reform. I do believe we need to look at the picture holistically, but that also must include securing the border.
Davis says more screening equipment is needed, along with more border agents.
We need to deliver another 22,000 Border Patrol agents. What I heard at each stop is they are significantly understaffed. I also heard that our technology is antiquated in comparison to the cartel.
Republican Lori Buckout says what's going on at the border with drug cartels and the uncontrolled flow of people is dangerous.
Well, of course, close the border right away, Border Patrol. Right now they're just letting folks in, and they're processing folks in and then saying 7 years later you can show up to court. That's just unreasonable. I don't think anybody thinks that's the right way to do things.
Buckout says there are measures that can be taken right now to help.
We had some good border reform under President Trump, the Remain in Mexico. So we have to go back to that. We have to boost our Border Patrol and have them stop processing people in just ridiculously. I mean, you really have to seal it first and then discuss what to do from there.
There have been bipartisan proposals to address immigration, most recently this past spring. And while the legislation had support on both sides, ultimately it failed.
You know, I think one of the reasons is that there were there are minimum number of immigrants who were allowed through on a regular basis, and it really didn't, as far as I know, hit hard on some of the legal issues and making sure folks are vetted and able to come in.
It appears that this issue has been politicized by both sides, and that's what pains me the most, because while it's politicized, will have real implications.
Former President Donald Trump, who opposed the bipartisan legislation, has said if he's elected, he would implement a mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. Davis says while he doesn't think that's a viable solution, he wants to hear more before committing one way or the other.
We can't negotiate through the media in this fashion. What I think is more viable paths for getting to real bipartisan solutions for people, policymakers, to sit down with each other, to get to know each other, to have the real conversations, to understand what's important to them. I was clear. I don't see how this, totally pragmatic, but I'm willing to listen and engage in those conversations.
I think that we do have some unsavory elements who have come in. I think that not knowing who we have here, not knowing who's been vetted, seeing an increase in crime, seeing fentanyl coming across the border, I think that's going to necessitate some attention on the folks who have come here whom we don't know, that have not been vetted. So I think there's definitely going to have to be taking a look at the folks who have come in who may not be folks who are going to be good for America, welcome to America, and who will not be good for America's future.
While a solution to the issue of immigration has been elusive, it's one that voters have said is a priority for them this election.